Hello and welcome back to another FPL Forbesy video here today. It's wonderful to see you here again. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit the like button, and of course the notification bell so you know when we're releasing the next video. What an epic set of matches we had yesterday, but it's left us all, let's be honest, in a bit of a pickle. And if you're anything like me, or if your team was perhaps similar, we've got to get some miracle work happening here. And I've come up with a strategy. Perhaps you like it, perhaps you don't. Leave your comment down below anyway, because I'm going to share it with you because I think it's valuable and I think you'll benefit as well. Because we're doing it together, folks. We're getting into that top 10k, top 100k, top 200k perhaps, or if you just want to win your mini league. So here it is. Let's dive straight into it. Of course, please do go ahead and follow me on Twitter at ForbesYFPL. That'd be greatly appreciated. Now, substitutions and transfers. Firstly, just so you have a background, why I came up with this strategy. As you can see, your team needs you was a notification I got from Euro Fantasy. Ronaldo's out, Wijnaldum's out, Depay's out, Stecklenburg out, Dumfries is out, Dutch players, Portuguese players of course are out, and Kevin De Bruyne's injury doesn't look like it's getting any better, folks. So he's doubtful for the Friday fixture that they have against Italy. Now, the fixtures, Belgium, Italy, that's happening. Switzerland amazingly beat France, still don't know how that's actually happened, but Spain narrowly beat Croatia as well. So those two matches are confirmed. Sweden versus England, not confirmed yet. This evening we have Sweden versus Ukraine and England versus Germany. The next fixture, which is confirmed, of course, is the Czech Republic playing Denmark. What's important about this fixture, of course, is that you can see where the players are coming from. So it doesn't, perhaps if you have 4 Belgian players, 4 Italian players, only 4 of those players will go through to the next round. It doesn't matter if Belgium or Italy win, of course, only 4 players can go through. If you had no one from Switzerland or Spain, well then that's not helping. But if you spread those players out through the different fixtures, you safeguard yourself against those unpredictable events like what we saw yesterday. So, as you can see, my prediction is Sweden going through, but it doesn't matter because if Ukraine go through, well then Ukraine goes through. Likewise with Germany versus England. It doesn't matter what I say or what the odds are or what actually happens in the match. We basically need to have players in these teams because of how the structure or the form is going to be. No one is going to get more players out of the Belgium-Italy game or from the Czech Republic or Denmark game because only so many players from those teams can go through. And if you load up on one side of the tournament matches or fixtures, you're going to be in a bit of trouble, as I see myself. So here's my little graphic. So far we know, of course, Belgium, Italy, but we have 3 transfers coming in. And what we want to try and do is split the transfers between the first 4 games, of course, the Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, and the second 2 fixtures rather. So it basically gives us 1.5 transfers and 1.5 transfers. It doesn't matter what your team is looking like because we want to get that balance, right? So right now, in my case, I have 2 Belgium, 2 Italian players. I have 0 Swiss players and 0 Spanish players in my team, as we'll go back to my team after this. So the best case in right now this situation is that I have 2 players going through to the semi-finals from the quarterfinal. Not very good, is it? Considering that I only have from at least the left-hand side of the fixtures 2.5 transfers, because we get the 5 transfers, but you only have 2.5 from this side, and likewise from the other side. I only have 3 Denmark players, which is actually quite fortuitous. I thought they would be coming through, but I thought as well there'd be some other guys playing for me. I have 2 Swedish players who are of course playing tonight, and 1 German player. No English, no Ukraine. Now you can see the error of my ways. Perhaps your errors as well. If you didn't have this problem, then you can skip to the last video where I talked about transfers there, or skip to the next, which I'll put links up if they're not already there. However, right now, for me, I need to bulk up on both sides. Right now, of course, we can see that Switzerland and Spain are through. So it makes sense for me to get a Swiss player and a Spanish player. because then I have 3 players, at least from this side of the fixtures, coming through to the semi-finals, which means then that I can get in 2 transfers from what doesn't matter which team goes through, but I can get transfers in to balance it out. So all of a sudden I'm going from 2 to 3, but with the transfers, I have at least 5 players. Now, if we think about it, of course, we need 11 starting players. Unfortunately, I'm not in the luxury situation where I can have bench players, because unless I take a hit and get in a transfer for -4 points, which could be a strategy that you would like to do, and perhaps I will do an updated video and take a -4 hit. So right now, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to take a -4 hit. So if we go back across to the right-hand side, I have 3 Denmark players, 0 Czech Republic players. I have 1 German player and of course 2 Swedish players, but I don't know what's predictable there. It makes sense for me to bring in a Czech Republic player regardless, because if Ukraine go through and England go through, then I have 0 from that side. So I need to then bring in 1 player from each of those teams. But as you know, I only have the 3 transfers. So what am I going to do? Well, I have to wait, of course, for those matches to happen and to predict it. But it would make sense for me to do 4 transfers, basically. A Swiss, a Spanish, a Czech Republic for sure. Those are the 3 that we'll have now. If I'm in this terrible situation where Ukraine and England go through, then I have to probably do 4 transfers, because I need to have at least 11 players starting. At least I'd like to. But worst case for me is I have 10 players only. But the whole idea of the concept that you're seeing in front of you is to make sure that you don't make the same mistake that I did, that you balance the fixtures and the players so that you don't have to actually worry about odds and numbers. It's just simply a case of, okay, it doesn't matter who goes through. If I select the best point getters from each of the teams and balance it out as best I can, you're going to guarantee to have more players that you can choose from when it comes to the semi-finals and of course the finals, where we have another 5 free transfers. But make sure you balance both sides, because if you don't balance it, you're not going to have enough transfers to have a full starting team. If you are one of those lucky people who has a wild card, you are in prime position. The rest of us, like me, who use my wild card in match day 3 and my limiters in match day 2, are not so fortunate. So the players that I'm going to be targeting, as you see, I need to bring in at least 3 players to get a starting 11 if Sweden go through. If Sweden don't go through, then I'm in a bit of a pickle. Swiss played phenomenally well and it makes complete sense. Shaqiri, although didn't get points last night, only got the 2 points, he definitely looked dangerous and potentially someone who's going through, and he plays in the midfield, a position that I need to fill. My next target is of course Patrick Schick. I don't know how I've been ignoring him for the whole tournament. I haven't had him in my team once, and he's got to come in to balance that side of the fixture table. And of course the third player, Alvaro Morata, seems to be hitting some fantastic form. I don't have any Spanish players, but I need to fill that Memphis Depay hole and the Cristiano holes that have now formed all of a sudden in my side. So I needed those 2 strikers and I needed a midfielder to bring in. That will complete my starting 11 if Sweden go through. If Sweden don't go through, then of course I'm in a real pickle, people, and probably you are as well. Now let's look what that looks like on my team sheet now. So here you are. Now you can see my team. Of course, Patrick Schick up front here, then I go on to Morata, the other, and of course Shaqiri. Now you could go for another Swiss midfielder, depends on what you're thinking about the fixtures, but for me right now this makes sense. We will see after the fixtures this evening where Sweden are. Of course I have to bring them in to the equation as well. Of course I could play a different formation and still have players in, but of course that's going to depend on what happens now on the fixture this evening. But I hope you found the information today helpful. I know it's helped me sit down and figure the whole thing out. I wish I had done it before, but that's how you live and learn, I think. My name is Murray Forbes, and I wish you the best of luck. Bye-bye.